Recent study of prison populations in the United States found nearly 40% of all prisoners in the Washington area have served at least 10 years. That is by far the longest prison stretch in the nation. And a closer look at the numbers finds a huge racial disparity for those with longer sentences. Our next guest wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post today. The district now has a chance to make a much-needed criminal justice revamp. Nazgol Ghandnoosh is a senior research analyst at the D.C.-based Sentencing Project and good enough to join us this afternoon. Thanks so much for your time.
Great to be with you.
What is it about the justice system in the district, particularly, that seems to lend itself to these excessive sentences and the amount of time that people spend in jail?
Well, it has to do with the laws that we have on the books that dictate very long mandatory minimum sentences for offenses, as well as how prosecutors then use those laws that we have. And so the Revised Criminal Code Act is recommending a massive overhaul of the criminal code and getting rid of most of those mandatory minimum sentences, along with many other changes.
It's one thing, of course, if this were a state and a state legislature could tackle these issues. It's the District of Columbia, and it is a system of governance unlike any other. So what is it going to take to make these changes? I'm sure that even with home rule, the mayor and council can make some changes, but ultimately Congress has to pass on all these, and that can sometimes be a high bar.
Absolutely, but we know that the council has done a lot of work to bring a lot of council members, the U.S. Attorney's Office, public defenders on board with this massive overhaul. It's been years in the making, and so if we move together collectively with the consensus that there is, it seems that there is a good chance that we'll be able to see this reform, this proposed reform, become law.
Well, is there consensus? Is there broad and deep support for this? Crime, of course, has become a big issue in the midterm elections, and it has a distinct partisan appeal to it. What about in the District of Columbia?
In the District of Columbia, we have Attorney General Karl Racine supporting this reform. We've had a lot of discussions with the U.S. Attorney's Office and with council members, and it seems that they have a package of proposals here that everyone agrees would make the system more just, more transparent, more fair. And we at the Sentencing Project believe that it makes really important contributions as well to scaling back excessive sentences. And doing that is not just fair and just, but it would also help to free up resources to make more effective investments in public safety. So as we make the criminal justice system more fair, we can also make our communities more safe. As
criminal justice reform has taken root in other places, why hasn't it necessarily here, do you think? This it would seem would be a pretty good laboratory, if you will, to see on what shorter and more just sentences could actually mean to a community.
Well, you know, D.C. looks especially bad when you look at how many people are serving very long sentences. It really stands out when you compare our city to other states. But in some ways, it's an unfair comparison since we're a city and other states have a variety of jurisdictions under that umbrella of statehood. So, but we know that Washington, D.C., though, has been a leader in criminal justice reform in recent years in a number of ways. So, for example, the second look law that we have on the books right now allows people who committed their offense under the age of 25 to get resentenced after serving 15 years in prison. And we have a number of people that have been released under this law who are very successful, who are able to make contributions to their communities and to their families now that they're on the outside. So we've had a lot of good things happening in DC in recent years, and a lot of interest in thinking more holistically about tackling crime and not just using these failed policies of excessive punishment that we saw put on the books by lawmakers in the 1980s and 90s, but beginning to think more seriously now.
What's the call to action here? If this resonates, what should people do?
We would like people to contact their council members and encourage them to support the Revised Criminal Code Act of 2022 to bring about a massive overhaul of the criminal code, including several elements that would scale back very extreme sentences.
Nazgol Ghandnoosh is with the DC-based Sentencing Project, and she's helped in understanding what is a situation in the district unlike any other in the country. Many thanks.
Thank you very much.
Take a break for a bit. Back with more, including an update on the forecast and the rest of this afternoon's news right after this.